New York. First of all, thank you so much for stating the obvious that political lawfare is in fact election interference. That's what we're seeing with the sham Alvin Bragg trial. Thank you also to the novice freshman member for New York, highlighting that withholding military aid to an ally for a political purpose, just like Joe Biden is doing to Israel. Always great.
It's about to go down.
Grateful for you stepping in it. Mr. Costello, in your opening statement, you said that in the over 50 years serving as a lawyer, you, quote, have never seen the types of politically motivated cases that have been brought in this presidential election season. These political cases are being used as a weapon of war to damage, defeat, or impede political adversaries and their allies. Instead of political warfare, it is lawfare, a cancer upon our collective judicial system. I want to begin with Alvin Bragg's weaponized sham trial in New York. Isn't it true that in Alvin Bragg's campaign for Manhattan DA, Bragg specifically ran on going after President Donald Trump?
That is true.
Isn't it true that Bragg's predecessor, Cy Vance, declined to prosecute President Trump?
That is true.
And the FEC also did not prosecute President Trump?
That is true.
And the DOJ did not prosecute President Trump in this case?
The DOJ referring to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District?
Correct.
Absolutely true.
And one of the reasons the Southern District of New York turned down this case was because the supposed star witness, according to Alvin Bragg, Michael Cohen, was totally, quote, unworthy of belief. Isn't that true?
Without a doubt.
This is the same Michael Cohen who pled guilty to 7 counts in an indictment that had absolutely nothing to do with President Trump and actually predated the first time he met President Trump, correct?
Absolutely true.
And in fact, this is the same Michael Cohen who perjured himself to Congress. Isn't that true?
Yes.
In fact, when called as a witness in this sham trial, Cohen was asked directly if he was honest during his testimony to Congress. He said no, admitting perjury. But it's not just Bragg's case that is a total sham and illegal political lawfare going after Joe Biden's top political opponent, Donald Trump. This rot goes deep all the way up to the top in the Oval Office. Because when Congress referred this admission of Cohen's perjury to Joe Biden's DOJ, isn't it true that the DOJ has refused to prosecute?
That is true.
Witness Michael Cohen is back in the spotlight today. Cohen, Trump's former fixer and lawyer, returning to the witness stand and is expected to be the final witness in former President Trump's hush money trial. Now, Trump's attorney kicked off the morning playing clips of Michael Cohen from his podcast, one in which Cohen energetically says, quote, I truly effing hope that this man ends up in prison, and you better believe I want this man to go down and rot inside for what he did to my family. The clips showed the jury a very different side of the calm Cohen seen on the stand, displayed how bad he wanted his former boss behind bars. The defense also honed in on Cohen's past lies. For example, Trump's attorney asked Cohen to recount the lies he told in 2017 to the House Intelligence Committee, for which Cohen was charged with perjury in 2018. Michael Cohen answered when asked if he lied under oath multiple times. He said yes.
If there was an MVP, if there was a GOAT of liars, it is Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is the embodiment of reasonable doubt. And
Biden's office is running this trial. This trial is a scam, and it's a sham, and it shouldn't happen. Thank you very much.
Earlier this week, Cohen testified that he personally paid porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 using a home equity line of credit.
And this entire case hinges on someone who has quite literally lied to every single person and body he's ever been in front of. He's lied before, I believe it's every branch of Congress. He's lied before his wife. He's lied to bankers. He's lied to all of you in the press. And he's actually lied to that very jury. And yet, he's the only person of relevance that this entire case hinges on. We understand that this is a political person.
Isn't it correct that Michael Colangelo, who was the 3rd highest ranking official in Biden's DOJ, was transferred to Bragg's office to run this weaponized prosecution of President Trump? Isn't that true?
Not only true, but it's unheard of.
Unheard of.
I know my father is not allowed to say Matthew Colangelo in his name, right? Because he's been gagged. The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
Heard of. It's a disgrace. Do you agree that this weaponization of lawfare goes straight to the top with the purpose of helping Joe Biden's failing presidential campaign?
The circumstantial evidence definitely supports that.
And the unconstitutional gag order on President Trump from New York Judge Merchan is unprecedented lawfare.
As far as I know, absolutely.
I know my father is not allowed to say Matthew Colangelo in his name, right? Because he's been gagged. The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
Let's go to the daughter of the judge. Isn't it true that she is raising millions of dollars off of this sham case?
Well, I have to say I've read that in the media. I don't know it of my own knowledge.
It is true.
Thank you.
One additional question. I want to talk about the rigged and unprecedented jury selection process. Isn't it true that Bragg's team asked the jurors if they followed Trump on social media?
Yes.
And isn't it true that they did not ask any of the potential jurors if they followed Biden on social media?
Or Michael Cohen.
Or Michael
Yes.
Cohen.
Yeah.
And isn't it true that 87% of the jurors said they voted for Joe Biden?
That's true.
Is this unprecedented and lawfare jury shopping?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Political lawfare for the purpose of election interference to go after Donald Trump. Do you agree?
Totally.
We understand that this is a political persecution.
This is one of the reasons that Trump's polls continue to skyrocket, and it's why President Trump will win in 2024 to end the illegal and warped weaponization of the justice system, because if they can illegally go after Trump, they can go after anyone. I yield back.
In Bragg's political persecution of Donald Trump, Judge Merchan instituted an unconstitutional gag order against the defendant, President Trump. Yet Judge Merchan has levied no such order against any of the other trial participants, like Michael Cohen, who continue to publicly attack Mr. Trump. Mr. Hamilton, is the gag order issued by Judge Merchan a significant departure from the normal order of business, and does it reveal the First and Sixth Amendment tensions which underlie this case?
Most certainly does.
The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
And why does President Trump face such a legally questionable gag order in this case? Well, simply put, it's because it is a classic example of lawfare being employed by Democrats against their political opponent, weaponizing the various branches and levels of government, something that we have seen in the last 8 years that has been absolutely shocking to the conscience.
A political fundraiser, just like this very judge's daughter, has profited from this very case.
DA Bragg resurrected a zombie case and is using a novel legal theory which has not even been explained to the defendant or the jury. He selected Matthew Colangelo as lead prosecutor, a former Biden DOJ official and DNC consultant, and Judge Merchan, who made campaign donations to President Biden and the Democrat Party during the 2020 election, and whose daughter's firm worked for the Biden and now Harris campaigns, is overseeing the case and imposing speech restrictions on a person Judge Merchan called, quote, possibly the next president of the United States. Judge Merchan—
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising. Okay.
Regardless of the outcome of the courtroom, which is causing as much pain as possible and treating the defendant like an enemy versus a defendant. I want that to sink in. Watching Judge Merchan, it is very apparent that he is treating President Trump as an enemy, not a party and not a defendant. Mr. Hamilton, do you think the gag order falls into this playbook and serves an additional lawfare benefit for the left in that it can be used to enact an even larger legal burden on Donald Trump for simply exercising his right to free speech?
Yes, I do. And in fact, quite frankly, when you have a gag order like that, or when you have abuses of processes like this, as my colleagues have alluded to before, the pain in the process is the goal. That's really the goal here. Whether they get a conviction, whether they get any kind of civil fine or judgment, is not necessarily the ultimate objective. The ultimate objective is to cause pain to the political opponent, and that's what they're doing to Donald Trump.
Talking to me? You talking to me?
Listen to me very carefully. There are 3 ways of doing things around here: the right way, the wrong way, and the way that I do it.
Possible errors. He absolutely knows that if there is a conviction in this case, it will be reversed on appeal. And it's as though he is attempting to do that because he knows that no such appeal would actually take place prior to November, yet he would have a conviction on the books, which is the classic, and I think in this case exposes the way in which they are using lawfare against President Biden, or against President Trump. I have never seen a judge make the kind of errors that this judge has made in this case before.
It is an insanity. It is an embarrassment. It's an abomination to democracy and to our republic. And yet it continues.